Bonjour classe, aujourd'hui on va parler au sujet des trois verbes dormir, partir, et sortir. So hello everyone, today we are going to talk about three verbs, dormir, partir, and sortir. So you can see I've done a little background work and I have some things up here on the screen for you. And so I'd like to talk about dormir first. And so I'm going to tell you that dormir is the verb to sleep, which you should already remember from French 1. But if you don't, dormir is the verb to sleep. Partir is the verb to leave. And sortir is the verb to go out. And so the reason we're learning these three verbs separate from when we learned IR verbs is because these three verbs have a little bit of an irregular change that happens with them. So let's talk about dormir and how to conjugate dormir first. First, we're going to drop the MIR. So we're going to drop the MIR and write our stems. We have DOR, DOR, and DOR. Now for our ending, we're going to add on, for je, we're going to add on an S, so DORS, so dor. And tu is DORS, dor. And il gets a T, so dor. So these three are all pronounced the same, dor, dor, and dor. The next two, nu and vu, are regular, so actually this whole right side of the table is regular. So we're only going to take off this IR. So for our endings, or for our stem, we're going to write DORM, DORM, DORM. And now for our endings, for nu, we're going to add ONS, so dormons. For vous is dormez. And il and elle plural is dorme, avec ENT, with ENT. All right, the good news is about these verbs is that they all conjugate the same way. That's why we're learning them all together. So for partir, we're going to write the same thing. We're going to drop this TIR for the first half. And so we're going to write our stem. And then let's add on our endings. So our endings for this are the same as what we used in dormir. So it's par, par, and par. And then for nu, vu, and il, it's the same thing. We just drop the IR instead of the TIR. So it's par, par, and par. Now let's add on our endings. So it's partons, partez, and part. The same rule applies for sortir, to go out. We're going to drop the TIR for the first half of our table. So sort, sort, and sort. Now we need to add on the same endings that we did for the last two. So sort, sort, and sort with a T. For the whole right side, do the same thing that you just did 2 times previously. We're going to write our stem, but only drop that IR instead of all of it. So sort, sort, and sort. Now let's add on our endings. So for nu, we're going to add ONS. For vu, we're going to add EZ. And for il and elle plural, ENT. Now, technically, for this form right here, you really don't have to add anything as long as you just drop the IR. But that's just a little helpful hint. So that's it for these three verbs today. They're quite simple as long as you know what you're dropping for that first half and what you're adding for that second half, as long as you remember what those verbs mean. So we have dormir, which means to sleep, partir, which means to leave, and sortir, which means to go out. It's really easy to get partir and sortir confused, so make sure that you are studying those and that you know what to do for those and you know what they mean. Si vous avez des questions, if you have questions, envoyez-moi un email, send me an email. C'est tout et à plus.